I think I'm live. Hi, everybody. How are you? Okay, something's all goofy here. So, this is all different, but we're doing it this way because we have a special guest tonight. We have T-REV 757 coming on, and he just produced an album. So, I can't wait for him to come on and talk all about the album, as well as his channel has been growing exponentially, like incredibly well. He's got a great attitude. He's a very good friend of mine. So I am excited. I touched base with him tonight on his live. He is ready for this too. I told him everybody's so excited. You just, okay, just heated my Xmas pudding, got my coffee. Awesome. Okay, Gretchen is joining the party tonight. Hold on. Oh, my goodness, girl. Okay, up you go. So hopefully she does not whine. Let's say hello to everybody. So I told you you wouldn't have to spend Christmas alone. Here I am to be with you, to be here with you. Hello, oh, it's jumps. Okay. Marie, Marie's adult coloring. Hello, beautiful. And I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. I hope that we get the justice that we're seeking in whatever case that you're working, whether it be your own family case or something along those lines, or it's something to do with a case like you're sleuthing, right? I want justice for the innocent. Hi, Jody Reason. Merry Christmas, all with love from Australia. Can't wait for this. I'm all alone today and couldn't think of any other people I would love to spend my Christmas with. Be safe, stay safe. Ah, thank you. Welcome to 1111 Tarot. If you are new to us, this is new to us doing it this way. This is StreamYard. Mama D plays with this once in a great while. It's not my favorite venue because it makes me feel like I'm like a million miles away from you guys. Whereas when I do it with my phone, I'm talking like I can feel you. So that I'm cheating. I have my phone down here. So you might see me looking down a lot. I got ya. My chat, right? I'm not even looking up there. Today is the day. I'm excited for this live. I absolutely love T-Rev and Mama D. How many of you put a one if you caught the intro with T-Rev doing his music? Welcome back, hippie mama of phone 240 to Starlights again. Hey, Sully, my beautiful. Sully sent me a very incredible Christmas gift. And I just, again, want to say thank you so incredibly much. Hi, Leonard Love. Merry Christmas to you. Going to zap my Xmas pudding soon. I don't know what Christmas pudding is. What is Christmas pudding? We don't have that. We don't have a Christmas pudding in the United States that I know of. Elsie Doodles, UK. Merry Christmas to my 1111 family from the UK. We are getting there. We're all over the world. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Hey, Pez, thank you incredibly much for modding tonight on Christmas Eve, being here with us, and everything you've done for this entire year. Thank you. Thank you, love. I appreciate you. Rosebud, Merry Christmas to my 1111 family. And Sully, and Natural Healing. Hello, everyone. Oh, it just jumped. Why? Okay. Sam and Wendy, maybe figgy pudding? Oh, bring us some figgy pudding. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding. I guess, yeah, yeah. How do I say that? Okay. The chick antique. Yum. We just ate the 7 fish dinner. Merry Christmas. See, I'm learning so much. I don't know what 7 fish dinner is either. Ah, Corinne Schaefer, thank you, my beautiful, for that snooper chat. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. Joyful Dolphin, You made it. Thank you for modding tonight, beautiful. WV Holler Girl. Merry Christmas, Mama D. Merry Christmas, Holler Girl. Merry Christmas. Brian Myers, Rev Gang 100%. T-REV is a very cool person and a good friend of mine. And just in the time that I've known him, his growth potential is so huge. And he's just doing it, man. He's just being disciplined and staying on his life path. And he's doing so good at it. Really good. Katie Bug says, I kept trying to remind T-Rev, but I don't know if he saw me. He gets busy. He gets busy. Barbara Jardine says, Merry Christmas from Australia. Well, thank you, and Merry Christmas from the United States, from Wisconsin even, or wherever you're from too. Australia. See, I've heard Australia. What I know about Australia is that there's a lot of poisonous natural things, whether it be snakes, spiders. It freaks me out. Like I can't, my brain can't do it because like I'm terrified of spiders. But then to know how big they get and then to know that they could be deadly, like, nope. Linda Salmon says, Hi, Mama D. Merry Christmas. I am from T-Rev's channel. Well, welcome, welcome. Happy to have you over here. Well, hello, Poppy. T-Rev sent me. Hello. See, I told y'all he's coming. He'll be here. Poppy and Cheryl and oh, we have two Cheryls. We have Cheryl Boaz and Cheryl Graham. Thank you both for coming. Rednecker First, Trev Train. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. We've got a lot of new faces. So we're gonna get right into it when T-Rev comes in and he can jump in with us. I want to know if you have a theory on the Idaho 4 case. Not what the theory is. I just want to see a one. If you have a theory, just a one. And if you do not have a theory, you're like just listening to the facts, not putting any dots together on your own. No, like no critical thinking. You're just letting it roll, waiting on things to come out. Give me a two. So if you have a theory of your own, not that you have to share it or anything like that, just if in the back of your mind or even in the forethought, you have a theory, show me a one. Okay. There's a reason. There's a reason. So I'm gonna tell you now, I'm only seeing like okay, I am seeing like 3 twos, 4 twos. Charlie. Charlie has 69 theories. Kelly Wash, thank you for that snooper chat, my dear. Thank you. All right. So obviously we have a majority of ones. Snoops, 2 months as a starlight. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, beautiful. Merry Christmas. Kelly Wash, thank you so much for sending me that little yellow. I don't know. He's like blowing kisses to me. Thank you for the snooper chat. All right. So the reason I'm asking is because, you know, we've heard about the lawsuit where someone wouldn't leave someone else alone. They said they are the one that did it. They were given two orders by the court to cease and desist and refused. Now they have a lawsuit. So a lot of people in the true crime community are like, "I gotta be careful." And then we have YouTube censoring us. Um, we're trying to make sure we don't point the finger. And the thing is, it's all in the context as how you present yourself, I believe. So if you come on and you're like, this is absolutely what happened, this is the killer. I want the police to go arrest this person. Okay. That's different than expressing your freedom of speech in an idea. So even in your comments, okay, if you think that this is like I had a dream, all right? So instead of saying like I've had people say the strangest things. Like I had a commenter come on and they were like, um, Dylan, the roommate, did it, and the girls told me so. That doesn't make sense. So it's best if you cover your butt and you say, I had a dream where this happened, or I had a vision where this happened, or in my opinion, this is what happened. Because that way, if it's what you feel or what you think, you are protecting yourself from influencing others into thinking that it's factual and keeping your butt out of the sling, if you will. You can ask all the questions. You can be like, is it possible that um, Brian Laundrie killed Gabby Petito? Is it possible? You can ask all that kind of stuff. So I don't want us to let go of that critical thinking, right? Where you walk through a number of different theories, and maybe you're dead set on this theory, but new information comes up, lights a path, and you understand more about how that really meant this, right? You get that in tarot too. Like I might understand it one way, and I'm like, "Oh, so it's cake. All right, so it's cake." And then the next time I do a reading, I'm like, "It's chocolate cake." You know what I'm saying? And then the person's like, "You didn't say it was chocolate last night." And I'm like, "Yeah." More details came out. But it is. It's like I don't want us to lose the idea that we can self-express, do it respectful. Um, and other people believe differently than I do. And there's other people that believe differently than you do. And we all have different opinions, making us very unique, making us a family. Katie Bug says T-Rev always looks pretty. I think he's a handsome kid. Yeah, he is. But he's young, young, young. He is. And he's doing such a beautiful job. Retro Kitten, thank you. Trevor's backstage. Y'all, I'm not that great at this. Okay.
I was here.
I
I
was
was
trying
just
to
listening.
ah well, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
What's going on, everybody? Just came on. I was live, and then I was like talking to somebody. I was over there like looking at the time clock. I'm like, yeah, it's about time we wrap this call up and go to Mama D's channel. So
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for the T-Rev family coming over and intertwining with the 1111 family. And there are some that are both, you know.
yeah, no, there's a lot that are both.
How many of you guys caught the put a one if you caught the like intro where T-Rev sang the song? All I did is put pictures of the, people up behind it.
I missed the intro. That's
You
probably because
did?
I was ending my live. I ended my
Yeah.
live, and then I
Yeah,
came
yeah.
over. When I came in, you were like, "We're getting started," and I was just,
You've been here since then?
yeah. You were like, "We're
I am
getting started."
so
I
sorry.
was just, I was sitting right here. I was in chat talking to people. I was like,
I
"Yeah." I said, "I'm doing my makeup." That's what I told him. I was like, "I'm doing my makeup." I was just like, I knew you were getting started, so I'm not tripping.
Well, and I'm so terrible at, like, StreamYard and
You'll get
stuff like
used to it.
that.
It is confused. Like at first, when you start with it, it's confusing. It really is because you won't. It'll tell you when somebody's there, but you got to get used to it. Because at first, I didn't see a lot of people when they came in at first, so it's confusing. But once you get used to it, you'll be able to click the comments. Like right now, you can click on anyone's comment and pull it up.
Okay, and I have a touch screen and a new computer, so it's, like,
Touch someone's
total.
comment. Touch anyone's
Okay,
comment, and
Stephen
it should
A.
come up.
Oh, wait, it went so fast. Laughing Stock, you're on.
There you go. You could anything like that. You could touch
Aw, they
anybody's
said
comment.
1111. That's awesome.
Yep, and you'll pull it all up. Any comment you touch shows up on the screen.
What does that one say? Hey, mama. You know what? That'd be a great way for us to do the GoPro tonight. So we're giving away a GoPro. We have a drawing coming up, T-Rev. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about you. I want to find out more about. So you released an album recently, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Can you share a little bit about like what inspired you to like write this particular album? Like, is there certain songs that were inspired by something that recently happened, or where does your inspiration come from?
I say three of those songs were brand new. The rest of them are pretty much like 2 years old.
Oh
So, but
wow.
the Truckee Way is a newer one. Fibber is a newer one. Fibber was inspired by a bunch of lying ass YouTubers that buy views on YouTube, and they claim that they're bigger than they are, but in reality, they're buying all these fake ass views. So that's what that song is about. And that's what made me move on from the music community, because I was straight music community for a long time on YouTube until
Right.
I found the beautiful true crime family on YouTube, which, I've always been true crime, but I never knew that there was such a broad community in the true crime community on YouTube. So once I figured out, I was like, hold up, there's a true crime community on YouTube, and I binge watch everything true crime, and I'm so into these cases that, like, yeah, it's time for me to do this and move on from the music community, which I'll still do music for myself and I'll still put it on platforms, but I find myself more happier trying to get justice for somebody, and speaking for people that aren't here no more and families that are struggling and crying. But that's, I don't know, that's just that's why I made that song Fibber. And then Truckee Way was Kylie Rodney, which that was is one of my favorite songs on the whole entire
One of
album.
my favorite songs. There I have a couple songs that are my very favorite. And Time Will Tell on You by Brandon Maddox is one, and The Truckee Way by You is the other. And like if those songs come on or I play those songs, yours and Brandon's, each one moves me a different way, but it'll almost get me into like with Brandon Maddox, it almost makes me want to cry. Like I want to go ball because I feel like it really states the injustice very clearly about like, the corruption side of it all. And yours, it really gets me revved up, hence the name T-Rev.
You can hear the
Um,
anger in that shit. You
yes,
can.
so it
I'm angry.
empowers me.
I'm angry
Yes,
when I did that song. I was like, man, how can these people sit around and say that this young lady, this young teen, drove into a lake and
from the trunk.
didn't, yeah, and ended up in the trunk, but didn't try to get out the window. And I don't know, it just it screams red flags. And that she didn't drive into that lake. She didn't take the wrong turn and just go into a lake that night. That's not what happened with Kylie Rodney. And to be honest with everybody in here and anybody that's in here that's Rev Gang, I'm not done with that. I'm not done with Kylie Rodney yet. That I'm letting it. I want to see what they can do. I want to see if they come up with anything, because I know the case is still open. I have called myself, and that case is still open. I'm
Right,
not done with that. I've just everything that I've done was just a start of it, and I've left it alone for a little while because of this Idaho 4 case. And then I jumped into the Trinity Backus case after the Kylie Rodney case, which Trinity, that her death is very weird too. You know what I'm saying? It's another
yeah.
weird case that touched me in a different way. And I don't know. I know right now this Idaho
Trinity's
4 case is crazy.
oh, true that.
But
Real
Trinity's
true.
is crazy too, because how are you at your aunt's house? And I exposed the fuck out of these people because I got all of their information. And this guy that was messaging me on Facebook, when I literally looked at his face, I looked at his name and I went and pulled his name up. I
Mhm.
I got his information because he messaged me on Facebook. So I looked him up, and he, in 1990, when I was born, in 1990 and 1993, he was selling drugs to minors. And he
Yeah.
happened, and he was trying to silence me on the Trinity case. So in the Trinity case, like if I got a 20-minute video where I break down the whole entire family, Placer County tried to have, or was it? No, it wasn't Placer
Yeah.
County. It was
Yeah, it
Nevada
was.
County.
Oh.
Nevada County tried to get my video removed,
Oh, that's right. I
and
remember
they
this.
emailed it to me. They emailed me. They wanted me to blank out a bunch. First of all, they tried to get the video removed, and then they emailed me again trying to get me to blank out stuff. I told
What parts, though, did they
the
want you to blank out?
the officer's information, David
Oh,
Gilardi's information. So it was really weird that they wanted these particular people's information blanked out, but I was able to
hmm,
say I fought him back, and I was like, this is all public information. Why do I gotta blank this out?
good for
Because
you.
anybody can do this. And I wrote, and I
Yep.
took this, my friend that's a bigger YouTuber, he told me, take this, copy and paste it, and I bet you won't get in trouble. I copied and pasted it to him,
Mhm.
and next thing you know, the next day it was cleared. They were like, no, you're
Awesome.
right. Fair use public information. So I was like, okay, fine. Like I know where I stand within the YouTube community, because at first when I came on, I was like, fuck this. I'm not saying allegedly, but then I realized you could get sued for real.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I mean?
real.
They can sue you. So I started
I've
changing up
learned
my
to
speech.
say, because a lot of it is my gut feeling, so I'll say I feel like or I think, because that gives you an I mean, you could go to court and they'd be like, "Is this true?" "Yes, it's true. I do feel that way," or "Yes, it's true. I do think that way."
Mm-hmm.
So you can say that, and that's why when I read tarot cards a lot, I'll be like, "I really feel this, you guys." But I also always say there's, and I try to say it each video, but I don't, but I try. But I do have it posted in my description, but there's no evidence on the board. This is guidance, and this is an understanding of the possibilities that could have happened here.
Right.
Um, but like, it's interesting for me, like when I looked at Jeremy Reagan contacted me, which is the neighbor that walked his dog, was on the interview. He had those gloves that had the fingers cut out. And so everybody got really suspicious of him. Well, he emailed me. He tried to make me feel terrible. And I basically said, "Hey, dude, you're putting yourself out there. You're the one inserting yourself into this case, knowing this is a topic that is going to be looked at. And with all due respect, you know, I'm not the one looking for you. You're trying to find the attention. Well, you got it." But then when you look at Ian Harsh, right? Ian,
Mm-hmm.
he bothers me because he's continuing to put himself out there and mocking it, like laughing when they ask him, "Are you the killer?" He laughed.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. He's a weird individual that needs to be just looked into a little more. I think he's inserting himself, but you can't count him out as a suspect until, I mean, but the only thing going for him, if they have the killer's DNA, he is a felon. They have
True.
his shit. So
Is
that's
he
the
a
only part.
felon?
Yes, he's a fucking felon. He said
You
it in the
saw that?
Yes, there's two interviews
Okay.
that I can send you that you can watch yourself. He says it
Sure.
in the interview on Hidden True Crime that he's a felon.
Okay. So he would have popped up on CODIS.
So I think he's trolling the case. He's inserting himself. He's doing it for clout. And I went down that deep dive, and I do
Yeah.
think, yeah, you
I'm
gotta
glad you did.
you gotta rule him out as a suspect because he's a felon. That's the only way. And in case like you got in there squeaky clean, which I doubt it, his DNA is in there. If you know what I mean, if he
Yeah, if
did
he's
it. So.
a felon, he's in the CODIS. Okay. The other one that came up on CODIS, because he had previous charges, was, um, what was his name? He was the knife dude that, like, cut his arm and beat his wife and the daughter.
Oh, you're talking about. I know you're talking about. I don't
Something
know his full by name,
James
but you're.
Curtis or something?
I know exactly who
Alan?
you're talking about. He lived right
What's
down the
his name?
street or whatever. It was a domestic violence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. And they ruled him out too. But you have to be able to rule somebody out with something, and it's obviously DNA.
Yeah, but what's freaking me out the most is they're saying that DNA is just starting to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how did they rule out Jack D? How did they rule out the hoodie guy or a male at the how do you do that without any evidence?
Yeah, that's a very good. I mean, no, you would have to have some blood from him, or they would have had to scratch the shit out of the killer and get skin under their fingernails. You get what I'm
That's
saying? That's
still DNA.
yeah.
That's
They
still
would
got to
need.
go through the whole system.
That's what they would need to really
Yeah,
nab this fucker. If he wasn't in the system, they one of the victims would have needed to gouge his fucking eye or grab his skin or something. They would have to. They would have to. You know what I mean? Like they would have to dig into this guy. Like,
yeah.
and if allegedly, I went back and watched all the interviews, and I know the coroner changed up what she said, but
Did she? What did? Okay, wait. Okay, so what'd she say first?
she first said that they were killed in their beds, and that's what came
Right.
out. And then it
I do
led
remember that.
maybe one. I remember seeing a statement. I don't know if it was fabricated or not by her, but allegedly she changed it up and said that Ethan was out in the hallway.
Oh, okay.
From what I read, and I don't know if it's bullshit or not, but
I
that's what
think
I
it's
read, and I
bull.
thought it
I
was a
call
good source.
bull. Here's
Yeah.
why, because I remember the cops saying in the very beginning all the doors were closed.
See,
He'd
that's
have to
the
be
thing.
all the way in the hall. He ain't going to be in the doorway if all the doors are locked and closed.
I
That
went
came
down the
straight
rabbit
from the
hole
cop.
last night. I was laying in bed. I couldn't fall asleep. So I went back down the rabbit hole of watching all the beginning interviews and watching the police interviews and really watching the details of what they say about this horrific crime. And they say that these children, which they really are children, 22
Yeah,
20-year olds and 21 year olds, they were in bed, killed in bed.
yeah.
So if you're killed in bed, then you're going for a kill shot,
Well, okay.
right?
Right. Absolutely. So I was watching your channel for a couple hours earlier while I was doing some Christmas stuff, some Christmas baking. And I noticed that there were some people that were wondering if it was drug related, right? Could this
Yeah.
crime be drug related? And they were wondering that because allegedly Xana's mother has drug charges and so forth. Well, for me, this is just my thinking. I don't feel that it can be, or I shouldn't say can be. I don't feel that this is um, drug related kills because it's too high risk for them to go in with not knowing the victims, if there's a gun in the house, cameras, da 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 da, with knives. I feel like if this was gun, it would be an execution style with a bullet, like boom,
Right.
boom,
That's what I'm
boom,
saying. Who
done.
a knife is very personal.
I agree with you.
It's a very personal attack. And not only that, you're not going to bring a knife to a gunfight, so it's obviously you knew there was no guns in there. You know what I
Right.
mean? You knew there
Oh
was no
my
guns in there.
God, that's brilliant, T-REV. You just blew my mind. You're not gonna bring a knife to a gunfight, and he knew that. He knew there was no gun.
You know,
That is a good
which
point.
which shows you that either A, you're the luckiest fucking serial killer in the world that
Mhm.
just guessed, hey, these kids don't have a gun, or B, you knew them very personally and you had a personal vendetta against one of these people and you just happened to go in there and off every single one from the second floor up. And I think that's, I don't know, and that's where the
That's
two roommates
asking a lot. That's asking a lot. Think about this, T-REV. All right, the killer has to know all this before he goes into the house. That there are no cameras, that nobody has a phone awake and is going to dial 911, that
mm-hmm.
nobody has a weapon, whether it be a knife. Like I sleep with a knife in my headboard. I can literally stab you like that. Like it's a flick. You're done. I mean, I that's how I do that. I have one in my car too. Um, so this killer knew no camera. This killer knew there were no guns because, like you just said, they're not going to be bringing no knife to a gunfight, and they know
Hell
it.
no.
The what else?
This had to be
Cameras,
somebody that
weapons.
hung out with these individuals at this house, period, and knew what was there and what was not there.
For
Period. I mean,
real. For real.
And you know what I'm saying? Like even a serial killer, they can stake out a house all they want all day long, but in case you go in that house and experience what's there and what's not, I don't think you're gonna make that sophisticated move into a house and go for kills like that
With
without,
six
because you could
people.
be shot. You could be shot to death quick.
For real. And there's six people in the house. Even if you think that it's just the four girls, you're still going up against multiple levels. So how do you know that, you're not going to wake somebody up on another level where they just dial 911?
I'll just go on the limb to say I think like right now where I stand with it, allegedly all speculation is I think there was a phone call, maybe they're sleeping. No, I'll
You
just
think
say
so?
that. I'll leave it at that.
I get
Speculation,
you.
allegedly. They're sleeping. Come do what you got to do. Or if it wasn't a phone call,
Whoa.
it was a, maybe one of the roomies, allegedly speculation, went and let said person know, hey yo, it's clear to come over now.
That's weird you'd say that because when you said that, like that call, I thought of that Vimo that says 3 a.m. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. No,
So
yeah.
that's connected to, allegedly, that Vimo is the sister of Jack K, which is Maddie. No, Jack K is the one that got $6 from Ethan before Ethan was killed, and then allegedly started the GoPro and put $6 in. Am
Yeah,
I
on the
making?
go, yeah, the
Is that
GoFundMe.
right?
He did six
Or
dollars on
GoFundMe? I
every.
always say GoPro.
No, he did the GoFundMe $6 on every single one of theirs. Six
On
six
each
six six
one of
six
theirs?
6666 across the board on all of their
Four
shit.
sixes?
Sixes, and then if you add it up, what is 1122 add up to? Six. What is all these other things add up to? All it's just everything adds up to six.
Yeah.
So what does that come into? What is that? I don't understand if it's some ritualistic shit, but or if it didn't mean to add up that way, but it's still weird. Still super weird.
Well, what's really weird is when you said that there's each of the victims got $6. That's actually makes that $24, which 2 plus 4 in geometry is 6 again. So it's a message of full circle.
Mm-hmm. There is some weird shit with this case right here, and I feel like
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like it's I don't know people. I'm start
Creepy.
I started to think outside the box. Like yeah, it could be somebody that we haven't heard of, but it's still somebody that knows about that house because you're not gonna walk into a house with five vehicles and bring a knife to a gunfight, a potential gunfight, because you got
Right?
to think any house somebody in there is carrying. If you step
I
into a
mean,
mind of a
really.
criminal,
Yeah.
it couldn't have been a. That's why I feel like this was a first time killing for this person, and they thought it out methodically.
The Chick Antique says 1122 equals 6. There are 6 rooms, 6 people, 666. Well, and then you have to remember it happened on the 13th, which is in the tarot, the 13th is a sign of death. It's
Mm,
scorpionic energy too, which is well, it could be seen in a lot of different ways. I probably shouldn't get too deep into that. I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. We're getting a lot of Merry Christmases out there. Merry Christmas. And me and T-REV, I'm speaking for T-REV too. We want peace and love for all of you. And if you are ailing in any way, we wish you tremendous healing. And that 2023 coming up is bright and beautiful, and that we see the changes that we need for these people that have so much injustice against them and don't have voices, right?
they don't have voices no more, but they sure had a lot of voices last night when we did our spirit box session.
Yeah, that got crazy. It
I
zapped
didn't.
me
I didn't
though.
even review it yet. I didn't even. It zapped me too. But the weird thing is when I went, I was zapped when I went in, And all day long, I haven't said nothing on my live because I didn't want to scare nobody away. But all day long, my monitor has been flickering on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, on
Make
and
sure
off,
you
on and
clear
off.
your room. Make sure and clear your room.
I didn't
Ring
clear.
bells or
I didn't
whatever.
clear. I want them to stay here. They're fine. You know, I want to
Mm.
wait till they get justice. You know,
That
Maddie.
that's not how it always works, though.
I only allowed them to be here,
There
and
you
nothing
go.
else could stay. And I said, and I made sure that I in my prayer, and I made sure in everything that I
Yeah.
said only the 4 Idaho victims are allowed to be here.
Right. Well,
I
that's
want to
good.
hopefully help them cross to the light. I know that Ethan is very vocal in his afterlife. I don't care what nobody, they can call me crazy, they can call me whatever they want. That guy is vocal. That young man is vocal. He's not at rest. He's he's literally arguing in his death. If you go back to our
Yeah.
last night's if you go back to our last night spirit box session, there's literally like, I'll fuck you up. Like there's some shit going on in there.
That was weird because the whole thing to me, T-Rev, was like, I remember us asking to questions and stuff in the beginning, but it changed. Like the dynamics changed. It was like a replay of events that had happened that night. It
Yes.
was like a time loop. It was really bizarre. So it
There were
was like somebody,
screams.
yes, you could hear somebody say, "I'll fuck you up," and I was like, "Oh my god!" It's like we're hearing a movie being played back of what may possibly have happened that night. Like, what if Ethan and this David so and so and this other David so and so really did have that exchange? That's something I could see happening in that kind of context. And then it kept going and it played in context. Like I was like, I don't know, it blew my mind. I want to do a shout out real quick for Here for the Truth. Yes, Vimo at 3 a.m. has haunted me since exposed. 3
What do
a.m.
you
is
think?
the
What do you
witching
think
hour.
about a? What do you think about a Moscow trip after the holidays? Because
I
I
can't
really
drive
want to
on this
do it.
ice. I can't do it.
I'm talking about after ice.
After
I
ice?
would think it's gonna clear
Absolutely.
because I want to go to like honestly, I want to take my GoPros and really go down. Because last time, um, when we were gonna go, I couldn't get my blood pressure medication in time, and it's
Right,
important that
right.
I have that. But
Well, that's very important.
I want to go to Moscow, and I want to really pull up there, and I really want to put step on the ground because I've seen a few people go there, but there's people that I've seen there that I would actually walk up to and question, even if they turn it down. I'd walk up to them and ask them a question.
Can we wait till the killer's caught first?
We could do both. We could do both. I've been talking to a guy that I met on my stream, and he's actually a lot of people doubted that he was a detective, but he sent me all of his information, and I was able to verify that he was in he was a detective for over 12 years. And
Oh, wow, that's cool.
he has really good insight. His name's John. Um,
Okay, John the detective?
yeah, he's 54 years old. He was a detective for over 12 years.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, he's got a lot of people hate on him on my channel, but I don't know why, because he's really been around cops and detectives, and he's worked with detectives, and he honestly a really good dude. He comes on there and he speaks reality, and he doesn't sugarcoat shit, and
Right.
he gives us closest that we're gonna get to an investigation from a detective aspect.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's good insight.
Well, and it doesn't hurt to get fresh eyes on things, you know?
I like to
Thank
hear a
you, that
detective perspective, you know?
I agree. I totally agree. Thoughtus Healy, welcome to the members. Thank you, love. Thank
Yeah,
you. Merry
Vada
Christmas.
Silly, welcome. Everybody member up, show Mama D some love, and make sure you hit that like button.
Thank
Make
you,
sure you hit
guys.
that
Thank
like button.
you.
It helps her algorithm. It helps her channel grow.
Truly, it does. That like
It,
button helps a lot, you guys.
it really does. It really does. It helps tremendously. People don't even understand.
Okay, so on
I was thinking we should start a spirit box channel together, like
we
on a duo.
should, where it's its own thing.
Yeah, like where it's its
We could
own
totally
thing.
we could really do that.
like we'd have to come up with a name of like something like spirit box investigations. It don't have to be that name, but we can come up with something clever and
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea. Hey, welcome, Retro Kitten. Welcome to members.
yes, retro. Thank you for showing Mama D love. I see a lot of the Rev Gang
And
family in the
Kimberly
house. I'm glad you
Johnson,
guys
a
came
member.
over.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Kimberly Johnson, Merry Christmas, Mama D. Thank you. And a member for a month. Very cool. Thank you.
I just
Thank you.
noticed something when we go in and do light work, and you
Yeah,
know what I'm talking about. When we go in
I
and do
do.
that, we have like, okay, so when I work with certain people, sometimes there's just not a spiritual connection. But when I notice something when I put my when I channel my energy into the box, when I say I'm gonna channel my energy into the box, I close my eyes and focus all my energy on the box, and I think of those victims over and over in my head like a flash image show. And it literally, like, when you get to asking questions, I feel like it opens up
It's
a
powerful.
portal. It opens up this portal. And then when I actually set the box down last night and you were like, take over, ask some questions, I felt like that portal was wide open. It was
Yeah,
wide open.
we
And I
were
felt like
getting
you
some.
opened it.
That was absolutely one of the most interesting Spirit Box sessions because it went so far above those little like little hits now and then. It was more like I said, it was like a canned processed version of what took place, like sound bites from that night is what it sounded like. And it blew my mind. But oh my gosh, I got off that live. I went, laid down, and I didn't remember a thing. I opened my eyes this morning. I'm like, whoa, I was exhausted.
So you got this. That's interesting because you got I got the opposite effect. I remember everything, but from the first session that me and you did, when we were talking, when you said something about Jeremy Reagan, which I have the clip sitting right here in front of me right now. You said, "Did Jeremy Reagan do this?" In a voice, and whether it was a playful spirit or not, it comes through. And allegedly, speculation. This came from a spirit's mouth. You said he raped her.
I do
Trigger
hear
warning!
I
Trigger
remember
warning!
that.
Trigger warning! By the way, trigger warning.
It
But
was
that's what
weird.
it said, it clear as day, as if it was somebody in the room with us speaking.
Oh my gosh, Born Pack Rat just gifted you guys 5 memberships. So members, thank Born Pack Rat for such a beautiful gift on Christmas Eve. Thank you,
That is
thank
so
you, thank
awesome.
you.
Let me see.
That's beautiful.
The Starlight
Stephen
Thief.
Stephen A says Trev allegedly is amazing.
Stephen A.
Mhm.
Oh, somebody had. Let's
Lori
see.
Welch says Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas to you too. Stephanolopoulos, I can't say it. Stephanopoulos. Thank you for that snooper chat. Laughing Stock must have been there with us, T-REV, because they say it was outrageously wild. And it was. It was. I can't wait till you go back and go through it because some of that was just absolutely off the chart.
Yeah, I got to go through and clip everything because there is a lot of crazy stuff we got in there. I asked multiple times how many people were involved, and they kept saying three. It kept saying three over and over again.
I think okay, so it you don't have to reveal who if you're uncomfortable with the idea. And I don't want to blame anybody, but just a yes or no. Do you have a main number one suspect?
Mm, I did, but I just don't think. I feel like, all right. So I did. I had a caller yesterday that changed my mind,
Oh,
and
share.
he had a very good perspective. And I feel like, and I do, and I look at all these prior cases, right? And I look at all the people who were closest to these people, and it's like it would be an open and shut case if you think about these little players that are right there. It'd be an open and shut case. Now, one person that I still have on my radar, which completely switched, is JS. I still
Oh,
have him on my radar. I brought him back on my radar from completely bringing him off my radar, and I had JD on there allegedly. And literally, I think that JS could have a slight involvement. But my main suspect is I think somebody we don't even know.
okay.
We don't know at all, like Maine.
You feel like the victims know the person.
I feel like the victims know the person, and I also feel like one of the roommates know the person, allegedly.
Okay.
I do.
Well, when you're saying what you feel, they can't really touch us because it's saying my opinion when you say I feel.
I feel it. Like I
Mhm.
really do feel like those roommates know something. I feel like JS, he's slightly on my radar, but he's not top. He's not top. But if all right, so if we're gonna go with Maine, I'm starting with those two roommates downstairs that allegedly heard water running, but you didn't hear a quadruple murder happen.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Right? That does kind of get a person to kind of like look at it and go, "Nah."
You heard water running, but you didn't hear the commotion on wood floors that creak loud, but you
Right.
heard water running. Make that
Poppy.
make sense.
I can't. Thank you, Poppy, for that. $1.49. And welcome, T-REV, to Starlights. That's awesome.
Yes, ma'am. And Firefly, thank you, Firefly, for Firefly from T-Rev's channel and now a sub on yours. Have a great holiday.
Aw,
That's
thank you,
one of my great
Firefly.
mods. That's one of my great mods. He's
Thank you so very much, you guys.
very great people.
BMW007 Nike says, "Yep, missed 10 calls. Should be a clue." Those calls really bother a lot of people, but what always gets me is, and this is where I can't reach this far, is somebody will make the comment that they were calling because they wanted to say goodbye. Like they're in their throes of death. And so they called 10 times and then text. And I'm like, there's no way I can go there because these girls would have dialed 911 before they texted 10 times and then or called 10 times and then texted. So I can't go that far where I'm like, that was their final goodbye because they're dying. I can't. Um, I just feel like they would have called 911.
Damn, I see we had a troll follow me over from my channel. Damn, I must be doing something. Uh that,
You must be getting somebody's nerve up where they're getting all like,
well,
in your business.
there's somebody named Granny T in here, and they every time I do a spirit box, they talk shit. So what are you listening to? That fucking air, and they say a bunch of ignorant ass shit, and it's like, okay,
Oh
so
my.
why are you sitting here then?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why are you in here listening then? If that's against what you believe, and you're in here talking about you're listening to air, that stuff's fake. Why are you
It's a
here?
hater. It's a hater, a troll.
Oh yeah,
Colleen,
and I blocked them from my channel, and it's funny that I get in my live and they follow me over here.
right? Colleen says, I think three people. One stayed outside to be a watcher and two inside. That
F,
could be.
F the Truckee Way said check your PayPal.
Ah,
They
okay.
said check your PayPal.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Donna. Thank you so incredibly much, you guys. Thank
Grant
you. Merry
Keister
Christmas, everybody.
says Granny T's being nice. Yeah, Granny T's being nice because she don't want to get oxed out because she knows I'll put her ass on blast. Granny T has
That's
been
right.
she's been hating on all spirit work that I've done on my
Now
channel.
hold on. Granny T says, I've definitely been nothing but respectful in here. So, CT Rob, the
And
person
here,
being,
and here though, and
I'm sorry,
she doesn't respect spirit work. And what do you do?
spirit work. Maybe you have a girl, maybe it's a girl with a crush that just puts grandma.
It is, and I think I know who it is. I won't
Maybe
even
she
out the
just
name.
likes,
I won't even
yeah.
out the name of who I think that is either. I don't know, but Granny T is literally every time I do spirit work. Oh, you're talking
I
into
don't
the
mean to
box.
laugh, but you're just so cute sometimes.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying, but it's true though. Like every time I do
Listen, one
spirit
time
work.
Okay, one time I got a whole like I think there was 25 or 30 of them that they're gamers and they trolled my channel on purpose. Like they pick a random channel and they troll. We were live and they pick a topic. So they come in and they're like, um, bacon is delicious, but they picked ham as their topic and I played along with it. They like gave us all kinds of super chats.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oops. It's moving so fast. I don't know if I timed somebody out. I hope not. Miss Dog Lover says a 90-year-old troll with a potty mouth. That's funny.
Like people think
Ah,
because I have
that's Luther.
3,000 people in my people think because I have 3,000 people or 2,800 people or 2,500 people in my chat that I don't see them hating. I see every
Right.
comment and I watch and see who's running their mouth and I can just see those people and I read it. I sat there and read it for like 6 days straight of straight hater comments constantly. And then when I do spirit work, come into my spirit box session and say, you guys actually
Why don't
believe
you
this fucking
block her?
bullshit? Like,
Why don't
oh,
you
I
just
did.
block her?
I did today. I did today. Finally, I was like, you know what? I'm
I
like,
just
stop
block. If
faking.
that's somebody ugly, I just block them. I had somebody come in and they tried to tell me that they put a whole big post about how I worship Satan and all kinds of horrible, horrible stuff, and that I'm going to hell and all this. It was just a bunch of stuff, and they were quoting stuff. And one of our 1111's like, "Well, bless your heart, love and light."
Oh man, I love
I
it.
just look at it like whatever, and then I literally put them hide user from channel box
What are you
check.
giving? You said you're giving away one of these.
What is it? Yep, that's
I
what we
got
got. A
plenty of. I
GoPro.
got. I know. I got plenty of them myself.
Yeah, I got this one. I bought all the cute stuff to go with it. And then I was doing my thing and traveling and using my GoPro. And I was alone. So I would camp in the like way off in the wilderness. Sometimes I'd be like 3 miles in the woods by myself. And that was great. But one day I decided I would camp in the campsite with everybody, or not one day, but for a week. And this dude scared me to death. Like he was on some tripping on some stuff I don't know. And he was filthy. And I'm talking not a little bit, like filthy. I don't even know how you get that dirty. And he came up this close to my face in my own like tent area. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm coming back here to party later tonight." I packed my stuff and went home. And I'm like, "Well, what are we going to do with all that equipment?" So we are gifting it away and we're going to be doing the GoPro entering the drawing tonight. We're doing the actual drawing for the GoPro on New Year's Eve, but this is how many entries we have so far. Hold on, where's the camera? So I don't know. There's probably 100 and some, maybe 100. I don't know. But we'll be grabbing some names on here later. I'll ask them to light it up, and then when they light it up, I'll let you pick. Can you see when they light it up though? I think I can only see. Well, I'll grab 3 names, but later.
Hold on. What do you mean? What do you mean by light it up?
Where they tag you at T-REV
Yeah,
7.
I can see.
Yeah.
I can see. I can see. I
Okay.
can see.
Well, they're gonna tag me, and then but we're gonna have them tag you, and then you can pick the people that we put on the list to throw in the drawing. And then, like I said, it's going to be the drawing is US Central Time. It is midnight of New Year's Eve. So as we go into 2023, I'm going to draw the name. And then the person that wins has 24 hours to email me and claim the gift at that time on New Year's Eve. And if they don't, then the following midnight, I'm going to start over in the bag. And so the next person, until it gets given away. Oh, free falling. Thank you, lovely. Merry Christmas, Mama D. Much love to you. Thank you for all that you do. Ah, bless your heart. Thank you. I love you guys. Hi, Lone Multi. I haven't seen you in a while. Livy Live, good to see you. Livy Live came over from T-REVs about probably a month ago. Peace swear, good to see. I need one. Well, make sure and get in the drawing, you guys. So, so T-REV, let's talk a little bit about. I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about like, okay, so we've talked about in the Idaho 4 case, we've talked about all the people, right? And like a lot of the inner dynamics of all that. But I thought about it, and I want us to look at this concept because I'm doing a reading on this on Monday. So it's becoming the knife. So I made some notes here. So I want you to think about a couple things like, okay, words cut like a knife, right? Air signs are swords. Um, there's blood on the side of the house. I told you my theory on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want them to check that.
To
Do you
see
think
if that
that's
knife's
possible?
there.
That's what I want. I want them to check it.
I wonder if they did already and we just don't know.
I just don't have a lot of faith in these cops right
Yeah,
now.
me neither, because they fucked up from the start of this investigation. It's a problem.
Well, they're working it backwards. They work from the inside out, which it works for some. But when you have vehicles sitting outside in the elements for a week and then they're just stored in some public lot without covering, that's not evidence anymore. Why even impound them? Just give them to the folks right away. There's no evidence that can be taken once they're in a public lot where there's no chain of command. So they're
Yeah,
not
that
evidence, obviously. You can't have
that too, and
evidence.
you're showing up at the house on December 8th, still getting evidence. It's like you guys should have been. You should have been there overnight, switched out crews, whatever, and keep getting that until you get all evidence and then move out. I don't understand why you guys are going back over and over again. It just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't add up.
Well, and I was thinking of the knife itself and the blade. The blade is, they said, a fixed flat blade, right? Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, lovely. So the blade is fixed, which to me, this person is wanting a reliable knife, something that's not going to give. It's they're focused, they're serious, which brought me to they're out for blood kind of thought process. They're literally out for blood. They're on a blood thirst to get some sort of revenge. Like you spill blood whenever you murder someone with a knife or a weapon, but this is different. This is like, I don't want to use the term, but it's almost like they're gutted in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like overkill with blood running outside the house. It's total overkill. So this person was like, to me, and what I feel is like they were on a frenzy of some sort, which means that they knew that they're going to see these people's eyeballs when they kill them. They're going to look right in their eyes to do that. That is not just some normal person on the street. That is somebody, dare I say, in my personal opinion, that is on some sort of drugs or steroids, or I just can't I can't see somebody doing it like just they have to have an influence, right? Or do you feel like this could be just somebody mad?
There's got to be there's a motive behind why they did this. Whether it was, I don't know. I really want to know how they were able to count out the rabbit sacrifice and the dog sacrifice, the skinning,
Yeah,
and say that's not related. I want to know where that came from.
me too. Because what if that's like you're saying? I think you're kind of leading me to the idea that that could be like prep work or something,
Build up.
going
It's that
build
build
up,
up.
ramping up,
Yeah,
ramping up.
it's what are you doing? You're prepping yourself for all that blood and gore, and yeah, I'm ready to go. All right, let's go. Let me move on to this.
Yeah.
I think there is a sick individual on that college campus somewhere that has a dirty mind.
So one of the other things I was thinking of is, so I've had to use a knife a lot in my life because I worked at a chicken plant where for a year I had to cut chicken. And one thing that happened was because the chicken's wet, because it's frozen and it's thawing as you're cutting it, you had to have a specific kind of understanding of your knife. And when you first start, you get a lot of cuts on your hands because of what you're learning to do. So, with the knife itself, this person has an understanding of the balance of their knife because knives have their own balance.
Mm-hmm.
They've used this knife, like you're saying, they've used this knife in the past in a way that they're intimate with the handle, the way they grip it, all of this. So it brings it into a very personal spot with this knife. This is something that they could have had in their family for a long time and not purchased at all. This could have
That's
been a military knife.
Did you see the interview with the local knife? Like, it was I'm pretty sure it was a knife shop that he's like, police never asked me for video footage or something like that. Mm.
Why?
I thought that was interesting too. That he came out and said that
Why would they not ask for footage?
to see who bought a knife or if they even did buy a knife from there. I mean, it's worth looking into, right?
I would think so.
All of it is.
Absolutely.
All of it is really.
Like the first things that I would think you'd do is literally canvass the stores and get every bit of footage, like no stone unturned. This is a mass murder. This is college town. That town could go under if they lose that college. This is everything. These victims deserve true justice. With the amount of officers literally getting online to use their presser to say, if you are a business in Moscow, we would like you to turn in any video footage you have for these dates. You know, they didn't even ask for that and they could have done that in one fell swoop. How many businesses would have just had it right then because they hadn't deleted it? But instead, now we're finding out they didn't even ask for it.
I mean, you would think they would, but I have no clue. I feel like I don't even know where they're at with this case. I mean, they're fucking on spring break right now. Them police officers. I seen an interview just before when I got on. I was sitting backstage. I watched the interview where a guy, where it was a reporter said that they're taking a break right now. Like
Right
what?
for Christmas.
You take a break? You take a? I get it's Christmas, but you're taking a break on four people, and you're just giving the killer more room to keep moving away from everything.
Right. Okay, that's the other thing is like so when you look at the journalism that goes on in today's world and media, um, for a while there, journalists actually like when we went to war, they crossed country, you know, they flew over, they went on the front line, they got the journalistic story, they worked their ass off to get the real story. They didn't work for the police, they didn't work for a judge, they didn't work for a community, they worked to get the truth out. That was a journalist. Nowadays, we're just starting to see that return where all of a sudden the journalist is like, hey, Ashley, I actually stopped at this store here where they sell it's a smoke shop and I asked them questions and you should see you know the broadcaster is like you actually talk to someone, you know, because that's not what is being on the you know, that's not on their prompter. The way it works is the police departments are controlling what the media releases in most of these cases nowadays. They literally send out a press release that has the information for them to read in the news broadcasts, not to ad lib it either. And instead of being a journalist and going and getting the story and saying, you know what, these cops, I don't think they're doing their job right, da 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 da, or whatever their opinion is, they have none. They just read what the cops are giving them. So, YouTube creators, social media is bridging that gap, if you will, because I believe it's taking the journalists, putting them on their toes to where they better start sleuthing and they better do their job as journalists, because otherwise the YouTubers, the Facebookers, the Twitters, Instagrams are going to grab the story first. And that makes us wonder, why do we have a journalist if we've got other people doing it? So I think that's why we're getting this backlash of um, the media trying to say that we're interfering with things, and the cops are saying we're interfering with things. All we're doing is talking, and that is what everybody else is doing that's working this case. You think those detectives don't say, "Hey, Sam, you don't think it could be that boy in 2B with the dog, do you?" Of course they do. Of course they have that. And so I don't want us to lose that critical thinking because we're protecting ourselves from a lawsuit. I want us to remember that we have the freedom of speech, but we have the responsibility to always explain ourselves and be like, in my opinion, I feel, I think, you know. And I see that as a challenge lately with the way things are being run.
Yeah,
What's your take on any of that?
Did you watch the video that they just released today, where there was a FBI profiler talking about sleuthers ruining this case and shit like that?
No, and I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have been swearing through that whole thing I just said.
Yeah, she was like, we're doing more damage than good.
Well, it's probably because 'cause I've been calling them the fake Bureau of Investigation for a little bit, but it's because of the Brian Laundrie case. It's because of TBI not getting that dogs in Summerwell's house immediately. It's because I'm seeing them just walk away from 16-year-olds that are considered drowned accidentally because they drove from their trunk of their car into a lake, a reservoir. I'm seeing a lot of bullshit, and I'm not liking it. And I feel like a lot of us won't just swallow that red pill and be like, "Okay, we're gonna go with what you say and read the teleprompter." No, we're gonna keep being critical thinking, and we're gonna keep challenging the system, because we're not here to be friends with the cops. We're not here to be enemies of the cops. We're here as a society, as we the people, to ensure that justice is served, that oaths are held up. And that's what I feel we do when we say, you guys need to, for me, I freely say right away, when I look at the police in the town, I feel like they're being cocky. I do. I feel like
Yeah, with the
they're being
whole,
cocky.
with the whole, what do you say? We got
N-
this. We got this fully
92
under
years.
control. Like you motherfuckers ain't got nothing under control.
In those
Sorry,
92 years of experience, how many quadruple murders have they worked?
zero.
That's right. So,
I think they had three, like a shooting of three. What was it, 2015? But
okay,
I mean, that was like an open shut.
exactly.
It wasn't no, you know what I mean? When you and Detective John that I had on my show, he said something that resonated with me. If do you think this would be mainstream media right now, or hit across the nation if somebody walked in the house and shot them all with an AR-15 or with a gun? I
Not,
was like,
not.
I don't think it would be, because
There's 5 dead that just had that happen.
and it's not everywhere like talking about, right?
Right.
So
It got
but
mentioned, it didn't even get mentioned the victims' names. Just
like
5 dead.
it's the way that this happened, the gruesomeness to it, of the personal knife, the vendetta. But the thing is, I don't know. There was something that happened in Oregon. I think it was two. Both of the cases were in Oregon. I want to say. I have to look. I have to look back at it, but I read it. It was an older woman was killed by the knife, and then the wife survived. That This was two different incidents. The older woman was killed in her sleep by a knife. Similar incidences to this, but it seemed like it was. If we want to tie it and say it was possibly a serial killer, he killed the old woman and then he tried to take out the 2 in bed, which the wife survived, and the husband died, and now 4 people. Is it connected or is it not? But there's a bigger rabbit hole that you need to check into. And
Right.
his name allegedly, his name is Doug Wilson.
Huh.
And I wish I could present it to you right now because the
Do
video
you
is
want the
actually,
desktop somehow?
I can show you this shit. It might blow your mind. Hold on, let me go to my history real quick.
Will we get a copy strike or whatever it's called?
No,
Okay.
no, no,
Um,
no.
I want to say something real quick before we jump to that. So, this is not going to be popular opinion for pretty much nobody but me. Okay? Just going to say that now. I reserve my right to my opinion. You do not need to agree. So when they arrested Richard Allen, at first I thought, yeah, this is the dude. And then I'm like, he's not the main killer. And then they kind of alluded to that in that case over there in the Delphi girls. Um, and so I was like thinking to myself, damn, we're going to see another killing because the killer now feels like he has free reign to do it because everybody's like, we have the killer in prison here. And I'm like, but he won't pick the same state if he's a serial killer. Well, what was weird is it wasn't even 2 weeks later that this happens. And I'm like, I'll be damned. It's with a knife, too. That sucks. And it was supposed to be all females in that house. That sucks. They're all young. They're not minors, as in, teeny boppers, but they're still teens and tweens and just turned 21. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what is he doing? Working his way up from Evansdale to where he goes up to a little bit older. And then we have the teeny boppers and then we have the college kids. Who's next? It's like, I know that sounds so far out there and so far reach, but if y'all are going to be talking about serial killers, that starts playing a point to me. And I do find it interesting that we look at these cases and they all happen on the 13th.
That is true. Let me see.
And holiday wise, it's like right near the holidays and everything. It's just, ugh.
Let me see. Let me put this over here because this video
Yeah.
is.
How do I do it? Do I share something? Do I tap it?
What you would do is you would hit add to stream. You should see another thing down there. My screen. Yep, just like that.
I did
Now
it,
this.
T-REV. Are you proud of me? I'm learning.
Yeah, you did it. You did it. Now watch this. This is what I was saying
Okay. I'm going to
earlier by
mute you
somebody.
guys. I'm going to mute. Okay.
It's a
You got
rabbit
the
hole.
show.
It's a rabbit hole.
Bullets over the direction of a town. In northern Idaho's dunes of grains and grass, a battle without bullets over the direction of a town.
I believe that what's happening in Moscow is a microcosm of what's happening all across the country that started here maybe 10 or 15 years earlier than what's happening across the country.
And that is?
Well, just the radical division. I don't think our nation has been this divided since 1859. It's divided and it's inflamed. And that whole process, I think, began to be visible here a decade or a decade and a half before it became radically visible in the nation as a whole.
Pastor Doug Wilson leads Christ Church in what he calls a Cold War civil war.
Our rights come to us from God and not from the government.
Fighting in, of all places, a college town. Moscow, home to University of Idaho and just 8 miles from Washington State University, exudes a live and let live vibe. One of the interesting things about Moscow is how these two entities live side by side, and I mean literally. Right behind me, that's the offices of the Christ Church, and right next door is the headquarters for the local Democratic Party. From this former art house movie theater, Wilson leads his campaign to make Moscow a Christian town.
Idaho is a very red state. Moscow was historically a very blue dot in this red state. And so consequently, the fact that we've done this has been disruptive in the minds of some, but the feasibility of evangelizing in Moscow had to do with the importance of the university and the size of the town.
So in your version of a Christian town, would there be a place for non-believers?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Would there be a place for same-sex couples?
But you mean legally?
Yes.
You mean like marriage?
Mm-hmm.
No marriage. But there'd be same-sex couples.
No marriage, even though it's the law of the land in the United States?
Just like Roe used to be, right? In my belief system, in our doctrinal stand and what we believe the Bible teaches, homosexuality is not only a choice, but a sinful one. Yes.
It is a muscular, masculine-led vision of Christianity.
Scripture tells the man to provide, protect, and love. Scripture tells the woman to honor, help, and submit.
Expounded on his show Man Rampant.
Men are going to be dominant no matter what you do.
And articulated in his blogs. This one saying marriage is a little kingdom and the husband is a little king.
A wife should be submissive to her husband, as Paul teaches in multiple places, yes. So a wife should be submissive to her husband. But in the blog post that you just cited, I made a special point of saying that the woman exercises authority over the selection of the one that she's going to submit to.
So when you say wives should be submissive to their husbands, does this mean, why shouldn't they be equal?
Well, because God created us a certain way. So we want to fit with the design.
Former Mayor Nancy Cheney says the community has endured decades of Wilson's often incendiary ideas.
When some kind of outrageous statements were made early on about Southern slavery as it was, as a mutually affectionate relationship between master and slave, or saying that members of our LGBTQ community, trans people, should be exiled or possibly stoned, that catches our attention.
Wilson says he was misunderstood, rebutting the many controversies on his website, writing he does not believe in the death penalty for homosexual acts or that slavery was a positive good. But the visible and invisible lines being drawn here and elsewhere across the country are setting off alarm bells for many faith leaders. Do you consider Christ Church a church?
I don't.
Really?
I really don't.
What is it then?
I see it as a dominionist cult.
Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Stevens leads the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Palouse.
In the public square, I don't see them representing Christianity. I don't see them representing the values that I find in the Bible. I see them representing patriarchy. I see them fighting the culture war.
Stevens' position in that war is visible for all to see. A stained glass rainbow chalice. Wilson fights with the printed word. A prolific author, he's written dozens of books, all distributed by his own Canon Press. It publishes more than 1,000 different titles, half of which are books and materials serving hundreds of thousands of homeschool and Christian students nationwide. Wilson laughs off the cult accusation, but the former Navy man embraces culture warrior.
You can't have a naval warfare without ships, and you can't have tank warfare without tanks. And as I tell Christians all around the country, you can't have culture war unless you have a culture. Our tagline is all of Christ for all of life. So we want to be 7-day-a-week, 24-hour Christians in everything we do. And a distinctively Christian culture is forming here, and not reclusive and not cultic, but it's distinct.
Here in Moscow, Wilson and Christ Church have built a multi-million-dollar enterprise that includes a K-12 school, a publishing house, a college, and a streaming show. Pursuits that some worry will change the very character of this town.
What scares me is that he is making Moscow into a Wilson town.
Keely Emerine Mix is a former pastor.
What worries me is not that the stamp of Christ might be wrongly shoved down the throats of my neighbors here in Moscow, but that the stamp in the foot of Doug Wilson will be wrongly and is being wrongly crammed down their throats or standing on their neck. I think that his influence on this town has been despicable.
Aubrey and Wyatt Knickerbocker met 2 years after her family moved to Moscow, seeking a Christian town.
We found what at first we thought was a very welcoming community. There was something every day, something new, some sort of baby shower or something for the school. You get very swept up in all of it.
Until they heard this message from another pastor in the church.
Women should wear women's clothes. They shouldn't wear pants.
Shouldn't have short hair.
Shouldn't have short hair. Men shouldn't wear earrings. No one should have tattoos.
And then there was this, a psalm sing in the middle of the pandemic, protesting the local mask mandate, retweeted by then President Trump.
That was when I realized that these were not people trying to spread awareness or trying to spread the good news of Christ. It was people trying to say, look at us, we are so oppressed.
Did you feel betrayed when you realized that? How would you describe your feelings?
Yes, very betrayed, because I've grown up in the Christian church, and it never occurred to me that a church could be wrong and how wrong they could be.
They stopped attending Christ Church. Aubrey says she was attacked online. Now they actively avoid patronizing businesses run by church members.
If it was another church that owned it and they just happened to have some beliefs that I didn't agree with, that's fine. But when you're hurting people, that's when you have really crossed many lines.
Are you being judged on your faith rather than your product?
I believe 100% that that's true.
Josh Flickner says he came to Moscow seeking a Christian community and found it in Christ Church. But his business, Journey's End Cafe, is paying the price for where he worships.
I really wanted this place to be actually a bridge builder in the community. And so, yeah, it's really a bummer that that a lot of people in the community are just so full of bigotry that they do not want to even try to build those bridges.
He says his workers are threatened by crank calls and his future by a social media campaign calling out businesses run by church members.
Look at what people say about my business and then pretend like I was not a white heterosexual Christian male. That would be a hate crime. Anywhere else in the country, against any other type of person, that would be a hate crime.
3 weeks after this interview, Flickner announced he's closing the cafe.
So how close is Wilson to reaching his goal of turning Moscow into a Christian town? Well, no one is quite sure, but everyone has an opinion.
Honestly, it's almost laughable, only because you're talking about a minute percentage of the population.
George Scandalos and Brandy Sullivan own restaurants and businesses on Main Street.
As someone who was served on the city council, I haven't seen any traction gained in that area. The last two elections, there were some candidates who were members of Christ Church, and those elections were very uneven. And
I would call it a landslide.
There you go.
In defeat?
Yes.
You have 700 active households, about 2,000 church attendees. This is a city of 25,000 people. Is the way to reach your goal to bring in more people or to convert the hearts and minds of those who already live here?
It would be both. Yeah, we would want to persuade the people who are already here, and we want to welcome the people who arrive here.
Like many other churches, Wilson's deals with accusations of sex abuse, including a deacon this summer pleading guilty to a federal charge of child pornography, and Wilson marrying a released child molester to a church member.
The thing that upsets people is not the child molestation offense, because there are 20, 30 sex offenders in Moscow, and everybody knows the name of one of them because of where he goes to church. Right? The ones who don't go to church, they're all okay. They stay out of the newspapers. But the one who is repentant and wants to live right and is, straightened out, we're going to go after him because this is because the target is actually me.
Wilson, if anything, seems energized by the criticism and attention and undeterred from his goal.
Do you see expanding this microcosm from Moscow to the full United States?
It's hard to envision how that might happen. I think it would be I think it would be wonderful if it did. So if there were a reformation and a revival, that's something we pray for regularly. And if what is happening here caught fire and spread elsewhere, I would be very, very grateful.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's like
Yeah,
sicker
no,
than Truckee.
somebody sent it to me, and I was like, you know, they were like, look, he's into like cult shit, but they also sent me a video where it was pretty.
Tonight.
Let me take that off. It was pretty disgusting because the other stuff that I seen too, which is a whole different thing. Like people, there's nothing wrong with being a Christian. I agree, but
No,
when it's
I
a cult, when you're running it as a cult, which if you start digging into this dude, you'll see what I'm talking about. I seen there was this woman that made a video and she called me up on the line and was crying because she was scared of they're a very dangerous group of individuals that take action in criminal shit if you go against their word. And she was crying in tears because she was like, I reported it to the FBI, but he's at war with Moscow. So I don't know. Just food for thought.
It really makes you wonder if, like,
doesn't mean he did it or anything, or doesn't mean that, but it's just
right.
food
No,
for
but I
thought.
mean, it makes me kind of think about, like, maybe it wasn't who the individuals were, but more like what they were. They were this college representation. Like, the killer knew ahead of time, or killers, whatever. They knew ahead of time they were changing history. They were going to be famous. This was going to be national news. They knew that. Did the killer do this to destroy the college itself, to get back at the college? Was he rejected from college and he was jealous of college students? But was it everybody's like, this person had to be so strong. Y'all, I so disagree. You only have to be sharp. Your knife has to be really sharp.
That dude is I don't know, like she brought him, she was like, I'm gonna bring something to your radar that you probably never heard of yet. And that was the first time I heard of that dude. And she was like, he's been at she's she works in criminal justice, and she said he's a very well connected guy.
See, there's that Truckee money. You know what I'm saying, Vern?
And she was crying. You could feel her energy through the phone. She was crying her fucking eyes out. You don't know what the fuck I gotta go against. She was like super scared for her life after mentioning it, but she said, I feel like I have to come forward and say something because a lot of people don't know that this guy's at war with Moscow, and he owns a college university in Wilson, or in wherever in Washington. And
it would totally destroy you know what I'm saying? Like, the destruction of 4 innocent lives. But see, in that case, why wouldn't
thank you,
the
Sean.
killer have taken out all of the victims in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Why leave 2? That's the only, with 2 victims alive. If I went that route, I just can't see why 2 victims would have remained alive.
Send a message. Clean your life up, kids. Clean your life up, kids. I don't know. That's just that's speculation, but clean your life
it would
up.
have made 6 victims even, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know. It was so weird because, like, everybody is like, well, I only believe there's one killer because I just can't see, like, 2 people working this out and being like, we're going to do this. So last night before I went to bed, I was watching this program, and I can't remember the order of the victims, but so these people, they didn't get a response from a family member, so they went over to the house and that they had been shot in the head. And it was 2 victims had been shot in the head. And so they called the police and they're like, "Oh my God, I believe my nephew's been shot." And, they were just beside themselves. This is truth. So then they left there. The police are like, "Well, go notify your next of kin." So then they drive to the next of kin to tell them, and they find them dead too. Okay. So then they make phone calls and so forth and so on to tell the family. And they're like, "Well, I've been ringing Richard or whoever this is. I've been ringing this person all morning and they're not picking up either. I'll probably drive out there." And they go out there and find them too. And then they're trying to figure this all out. They found 8 different family members, all dead. Well, come to find out, it wasn't one killer. It was a whole damn family of killers. There was 2 of the main people, but they all the family went to prison. All because they were trying to get a hold of this one little girl, this one baby that was the youngest son, I believe, was the father of. And they killed 8 people all at once like that. And that kind of told me that people will plan together. And I mean, it's not like we haven't heard of other murders where there's more than one. I mean, even in the Delphi case, they're trying to say that Richard Allen did not act alone.
What do you think about that, though?
I don't know.
Think it's
What do you
true?
think?
I don't. I think he acted alone. To be honest with you,
I don't think he did it.
you don't think he did it at all. You think he's just a plant, like a plant. The point of plant the point flame.
I think he is there to fill a spot because
All right, so I know exactly
politics.
a fall guy, a fall guy.
Yeah, politics too. We got superintendent retiring and wanting to retire on a good note.
Fall guy.
I believe he was involved in some minor way that he should still pay for. I believe that he may have footage. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't agree with who I think did it. And that is that my gut is that it's
German.
No, in my gut it is let's just say Doug the superintendent one time mentioned to Mike Patty about the club. And I'm like, "Yep.
The club."
Yeah. The club. And I think there's some family members, young ones. I'll call him CP. That's who I think did this. Like I feel it.
Club.
You know,
What? Maybe
CP. Maybe they'll say it. No, not the corner club. We're talking about Delphi guys.
CP. I already know what that means. Large.
Yeah.
Child. Blank. I'll leave it at that.
I just feel very suspicious of him. But yeah, back away from the Delphi case, let's get back onto the Idaho forest. So I really do feel like this being the chosen weapon, a knife, like you said, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. So in my personal opinion, the killer knew that this was not as high risk as it could have been. He knew the place. And in my personal opinion, which is an amateur opinion, it's just a mom, but I honestly don't feel that it is some hit, if you will, some drug revenge takeout, because that to me would have been a silencer to the back of the head to every one of them in their sleep. Why wake them up? Why risk yourself being hurt? I think it just would make sense to me if it was drug related. It would have been like, pew, 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 and we'd be done. This seems like somebody was like, their masculinity got challenged in some way. And they were like, oh, I'll prove I'm this macho. I'm that smart. I'm this cool. I've got the balls to do all this. That's what I kind of feel like. But I do agree that if it was, I guess I can't say I totally agree. I feel like if it was like an ex boyfriend or something, I would hope that the cops did the due diligence to really clear this person, but I don't understand how they could until DNA came back. That's what I don't get. How do you clear someone without the DNA?
Exactly.
I can't.
It's not happening.
Right? I mean,
and that house is a DNA cesspool.
For real. Oh, and what about that dude, T-REV, that was like, I lived in the house last summer or whatever, and I graduated now, but you could hear everything on every level. You couldn't get away with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's super suspicious. Is it just me, you guys? I just want everybody to tell me if I'm going crazy. Or is every single picture that I see of Dylan, is she not looking, in my opinion, the way I feel is like she's side-eyeing Maddie every damn time. Like almost like creepily from behind her, looking down on her. And Maddie's got this beautiful smile lighting up the thing, not Dylan. Dylan's looking at Maddie. Like it's always a sly look at the camera. That doesn't help. She totally looks like, you know, if I was to draw a cartoon and put it together, it'd be kind of like that person that was like, I'll get you when you're not looking. It would be the thought bubble. That's just my opinion. But I get a feeling of, you don't know how, you don't know the half of it kind of feeling. I don't know. Do you get a good vibe from her?
From who? Dylan? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Nope.
Do you believe that? Okay, so her boyfriend put in a message that I read, and allegedly it's him. And he was like, I've never been to Moscow. Do you believe that? He's dating Dylan, but he's never been there?
How long they been dating?
I don't know.
I mean, it's possible if they're online dating.
I guess.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
from what I've seen, or from what I know, I thought maybe they were online dating, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. If they're online dating, that I don't know. Okay, that just ugh. Okay. So, a lot of people have asked, and you and I, we have no way to answer anything like that. But a lot of people have asked if Dylan is transsexual. That would be interesting to find out that she has been online dating and never actually hooked up with a boyfriend. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like the
People are
crying
saying,
game or
people
something.
are saying he visited.
Well, he, according to him, didn't. Not that I believe him, but no, he visited. Joyce says he visited. According to
Mm-hmm.
him, he didn't. He says he'd never been there.
There's pictures with her and her boyfriend.
Well, then they've been together.
That's what
Well, why it would matter, Firefly, is because allegedly there's a picture the night of the murder with him and someone, and somebody, I don't know who, somebody made the claim that that was Dylan, and he was like, "No, it's not Dylan. I've never even been there." And so, because if that would have been Dylan, well, obviously, if Dylan's in the house, that would put him and Dylan both in the house on the night of the murder, so it would have mattered. Brenda says they have him on the 911 call. No Change No More says I heard he was on 911 call. She called him. Where's the call? Where's the 911 call? I didn't think that was released.
It's not.
Well, then how did they know?
Exactly. It's a legend. Rumor.
Oh, till it comes out, nobody knows. How do y'all know? Okay, good point, Joan. How do you all know who called 911 if the 911 call hasn't been released? Miranda Love, is he on 911 call? How do y'all know this?
It's all rumor till I hear it.
Yeah, like how does Libcom know she's not trans? Not that it matters. I'm just saying if it's really a guy, that would really screw things kind of weird in the case. I agree, Jesse Lynn. How do we know? We have not heard yet. Joan, allegedly.
You know
We
the
don't know.
interview. You don't know the
Okay.
interview with Steve where he goes, "Yeah, she had a strong alibi."
Yeah. Yeah. That is
Yep.
weird.
Everybody says that he says shared, but I put it through Pro Tools already and turned all the way the volume all the way up, and I can hear it clear as day.
I can hear it your way where it's she, but I can also hear share the alibi. So I can hear she had a strong I can hear it both ways. Like I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't decipher it any better, but it could be she
When I turned it
very
up in Pro
easily.
when I turned it up in Pro Tools, I hear she clear as day.
That would be interesting to really think about I mean, a female killer. Like I said, you'd be surprised. You get a maniac woman up in there. Think about this. So you've got Maddie and Kaylee and the hoodie guy walking to the food. What's up, Gretchen? Oh, you need in your chair. Walking to the grub truck. You got Matt, Kaylee. Well, you got Jack or whoever that is, the hoodie guy. He says something to the effect of, they're going to get you for this, Maddie. Like she doesn't realize it. Like he's trying to tell her a message, like they're not going to let this go. Anyway, and then that kind of stuck with me. And I was kind of like, could that be being that we had Xana and Maddie both left the sorority house the same time they quit? Could that be
Mhm.
something?
Definitely could.
Another read on Dylan and her boyfriend? It's a thought, Sabby. It's a thought. Thanks for the suggestion. Wow, this has been so enjoyable, T-REV. I have truly enjoyed having you on the channel. I
I'm
thank
over
you.
here. I'm over here like 10 hours in, 11 hours in.
Yeah, we're gonna call it a night. I think I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. I'm not going to be on tomorrow till very much about the same time. I'm just going to jump on for about a half hour tomorrow night just to say hello to everybody so that if you are alone on Christmas, watch and see. I'm sure T-Rev will jump on at some point. I will too. And that way you guys don't got to be alone. Thank you, Lizanne Grobler. Merry
I'll,
Christmas, everybody.
I'll
Oh,
probably most definitely be on tomorrow at some point for sure.
hold on, you guys. It's time. We got to light it up. All right. You guys light it up and T-Rev, you're going to have to light it up different tonight. You're going to have to light up T-Rev, okay? So that he can see it light up. And that way he can call out 3 names and say them one at a time real slow so I can write them down and put them in the drawing, T-Rev, okay?
How do you want me to pick them?
However you want, just randomly pick
All right.
one name, let me write it, then the next name, and then the next.
I'm just gonna stop it at. I'm gonna stop on a random person.
Yep.
Let me know when to go.
Anytime.
Terry Faulkner.
All right, Terry Faulkner, congratulations. You are in the drawing for the GoPro, my darling. Again, that's great. I let them go as many times as they want if they get picked. Okay, you
Slap my
guys keep
finger.
going. What was that?
Easter. Esther.
Easter?
Esther.
Spell it.
ESTHER.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Congratulations, Esther. And then just one more, please.
Robin V.
Robin. Did you say V as in victory?
Yeah, Robin V.
All right. All right, my lovelies. You know
Those
the
were
drill.
all
I will
random.
see.
Those were all random thumb grabs.
Yep. That's what I do every time. I literally spin the wheel and then stop it. And wherever my finger is, thank you so much, T-REV. I
Wherever my
really
thumb was
do.
is
You have
whoever
gave
it
us a
was.
very, what's that?
No, I said wherever my thumb was is where I just hit boom, and it was look
You
right
did
next to my thumb.
beautiful. Thank you for making Christmas Eve so special for us, T-REV, and coming on the channel. This has been fantastic. I want to do it again soon. And let's talk about that Spirit Box channel where that's all we do.
Yeah, that would be. That's it. Needs it. It needs
It
it.
does. That would be cool.
Yeah,
We
it
could do it like
definitely needs
once a week on a set night or something so that we can schedule around it. You know what I'm
it.
saying,
Yeah,
Bird? Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Most definitely.
All right. All right, my lovelies. With that, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope that you have wonderful, blessed evening. I hope tomorrow is absolutely peaceful. And I hope that we get justice. That's my Christmas wish for the Idaho 4, for Summer, Michael Vaughn, little Oakley Carlson, every kid out there, Harmony Montgomery. I could just keep going. There's so many classics and Seer. There's a lot of kids out there. So with that, I love you guys. To the moon.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Peace out.